Okay, on to the next Skip the Line reaction, man. Lowkey, Obama Nation. Nice little play on that, Obama Nation and Abomination. That's pretty cool. This is banned from TV. This was not allowed to be shown to the peeps. And usually with Lowkey. Lowkey, for those of you who don't know, he's a UK rapper. He can get heavy. And he can get political. You know what I mean? I'm not entirely sure if we've actually reacted to... I think it was, I don't know, something to do with Abomination as well. Obviously not this one, but there was something else that we may have reacted to. I can't remember. But hey, get ready to hear some shit, okay? Get ready to hear some shit. This is a Skip the Line reaction from Frank Warner. The message is, this is the first of 4 linked tracks that I will request over the next 4 weeks. Okay, cool. Hey, for those of you who know Lowkey, this is low-key going to be sensational. He's a very, very good rapper. And it's low-key going to trigger quite a few people, I'm pretty sure. Let's get into it.
This track is not an attack upon the American people. It's an attack upon the system within which they live. Since 1945, the United States has attempted to overthrow more than 50 foreign governments. In the process, the US has caused the end of life for several million people and condemned many millions more to a life.
He's not lying. He's not lying. They have committed that many fucking coups, right? All in the pursuit of stopping communism, right? But in some of these coups, let me just tell you, some of these coups in some of these countries, they actually displaced freely elected people that were elected freely by the people, right? They actually displaced and put a dictator in their place, right? Because the dictator was friendlier to America, right? They had somebody who was better for the people, took him out of power, and then put a dictator in its place because that dictator was friendlier. He was America friendly and cared for America's interests more than his own people. So it wasn't about democracy. It was about making sure that America always has its interests fulfilled. Do you know what I mean? That I know for a fact. You guys can go and watch Johnny Harris. There was actually a really interesting video that Johnny Harris came out with recently, with an operation that America tried to do on its own people, on its own soil, to try and get the leader of Cuba, the Fidel Castro, out of power, right? And they were so desperate to get him out of power that they actually put together a plan, right, to cause terrorism inside of the United States and on American military bases to try and sell a war to the people, right, that they could invade Cuba and get Fidel Castro out of power. It's actually quite insane. If you don't, if you want to go watch that, go watch it. It's Johnny Harris. It's his latest video. Just go check his YouTube channel out. So yeah, and he's also got a lot of videos on a lot of American coups, which is quite insane.
The United States has attempted to overthrow more than 50 foreign governments. In the process, the US has caused the end of life for several million people and condemned many millions more to a life of agony and despair. The strength of your dreaming prevents you from reason. The American dream only makes sense if you're sleeping. It's just a...
Yeah, American dream only makes sense if you're sleeping.
Your dreaming prevents you from reason. The American dream only makes sense if you're sleeping. It's just a cruel fantasy. Their politics took my voice away, but their music gave it back to me. The land
their politics took my voice away, but their music gave it back to me. Fire. That's actually, it's almost like throwing a jab, but then also giving credit. It's like, okay, fine. It's like your politics took my voice away, right, because of the region that I'm in, but your music, which is obviously what he followed and found, specifically rap, that gave it back to me. So it's kind of giving credence to that.
Fantasy. Their politics took my voice away, but their music gave it back to me. The land where they're lumping are consumed by consumption, killing themselves to shovel down food in abundance. I guess a rapper from Britain is a rare voice. America is capitalism on steroids.
You can't actually, I mean, I don't disagree with that. I don't disagree with the fact that America is capitalism on steroids. It really, really is. And it's all very tied in with the, the military complex and the defense military companies, the defense industries like Lockheed Martin, Raytheon, Northrop Grumman, or whatever that company is called. All right, look, at the end of the day, I believe that the American politicians, the American presidents, they're all puppets, right? They're all puppets. You get elected because of corporate money and because of donors and lobbyists and special interests. And they come to you and they tell you what they want done. So it doesn't matter who gets elected into power, they get sat down. This is why actually Trump actually shook up the entire system over there, because he didn't need to take money from anybody, and he wasn't beholden to anybody, right? And that absolutely shocked the system in the United States. It shocked it to its core, in the sense of like, here is somebody we cannot control. Here is somebody that doesn't play to our interests. Not to say I'm not a fan of Trump. I'm not a fan of Trump at all. I'm not a fan of Trump. I'm not a fan of any politician. I don't lionize politicians, right? I liked some of his policies, but I'm not a fan of his, right? And there's many things that I can say that I think he wasn't good for America in many respects, right? But that's what shook America up. What shook America up is somebody that actually came in that wasn't part of the system. He was a darling of the system for a very long time. He was one of them. He was a darling of the system. When he was a Hollywood star, when he was no one cared. No one cared if he was corrupt. No one cared if he didn't pay his taxes. No one cared, right? But the moment he injected himself into the system and tried to shake it up, they were like, wait a second. Know what I mean? You were part of the club. You were part of the club, and we were happy to have you part of the club, right? But now that you sort of want to take yourself out and you want to represent the people, no. Corporate interests first, buddy. So yes, this industrial complex is capitalism on absolute steroids, 100%. And I think the only way to solve this in America is to take money out of politics. You desperately need to take corporations, we need to take corporates, lobbyists, and special interests out of politics. Politicians need to be funded by their constituencies. If people actually like them, they should be funding them, right, to run. But you're not going to fix this thing in America for as long as corporates have a say, for as long as corporate money gets injected into political campaigns, is you always just going to get the same shit over and over and over again. And this greed is just going to compound consistently. It's going to compound and compound and compound and compound. And that's why they are so desperately trying so hard to not get someone like a Donald Trump back in power. It's like we actually can't. We can't. It's like they genuinely take it as a risk to their democracy. You know what I mean? So much so that they become fascists in trying to defend democracy, which is insane. It's insane. It's a money game, and that's all it is. It's a money game.
Food in abundance. I guess a rapper from Britain is a rare voice. America is capitalism on steroids. Natives kept in casinos and reservations. Displaced slaves never given reparations. Take everything from Native Americans and wonder why I call it the racist experiment. Afraid of your melanin, the same as it's ever been. That ain't gonna change with the race of the president. I see imperialism under your skin tone. You could call it Christopher Columbus syndrome.
Oh, I see the imperialism under your skin tone. Look, for a lot of the things that America are, you know, and there's a lot that America has done around the world that they can't be proud of, but they also have done some great things as well around the world. And a lot of those great things came from the capitalistic system. It came from this hyper-competitive, hyper-consumer sort of free market, which drove innovation. Yes, America's driven a lot of innovation around the world, right? But also at what cost? At what cost? And this is why I find it so insane at the moment. Like, I find it insane specifically with this climate change story, right? When they try and push it on countries like mine, like South Africa and like Africa, and they go and be like, no, we're having a climate crisis, right? Which means now you guys can no longer procure cheap energy. You can't use coal anymore. You can't use gas anymore because the West, America and its allies are saying, no, we have a climate crisis now, so you need to procure renewable energies, which is far more expensive, not sustainable, right? And causes more poverty and famine in Africa. But don't care because you far removed from all of that, so you don't care. You don't care that you drive a Tesla or you drive an electric car, but the very cobalt that gets mined for that electric car gets mined in Africa by child slaves. And the actual pits itself that they mine that in is far worse for the environment. But you don't care about that. You care about driving your Tesla so that you can feel better about yourself when you're driving around. Oh, look, I'm enviro-friendly, but a couple of thousand miles away from you, right? That's impacted the world far worse, and you've created a whole industry of child slavery, right? But again, it's all this fakery, it's all this mask bullshit, it's this fakery, it's like, look at me. That's basically the market that's been created in America and the West at large, in the sense of they like, as long as I look like I have good intentions, that's what matters. The outcome doesn't matter. It's the intention that matters, right? It's like a child wanting to make breakfast for his mother but burns down the house, and the mother being like, it's okay that we have nowhere to live now. It's as long as the intent, his intentions were good, but we have no home to live in now. You know what I mean? That's basically how everyone operates today, right? Everyone has these good intentions. Oh, look at me, I'm driving a electric vehicle. I'm such a good person, right? While on the other side of the world, you don't actually see how that impacts it. But electric cars aside, let's talk about the actual energy itself, right? The West and America and the West at large, right? After having exploited Africa for decades, absolute decades, exploited its resources, exploited its money, exploited its labor, exploited everything, right? So that they can industrialize on their side of the world, so that they can innovate and go through their whole industrial phase with cheap coal and gas and cheap forms of energy, right? They go through all of that for a century. And then when Africa is now at the point where it's like, okay, well, we're trying to catch up. We need cheap energy, so we're going to use coal and we're going to use gas so we can catch up in the industrialized game. The West comes to Africa and is like, no, carbon footprint. No. Sorry, guys. We got to do it. We got to develop our nations. We got to industrialize and pollute the world for 100 years. But now that you are trying to get up and industrialize and everything, now the West is like, no, renewable energies, buddy. You got to skip that whole step. Skip it entirely. No, but coal's cheap and gas is cheap and we can't afford to do renewable energies. It's not sustainable. Like, people are starving over here. We're going to have more people starving, right? And it's going to create famine. Don't care. Windmills and solar panels, buddy. Fuck you, and you're not getting your coal and you're not getting your gas. Do away with all that shit, right? We did it. We built our nations on that. Now that it's your turn, no, can't use it. It's bad for the environment. That's lovely, eh? Fair shit, isn't that? Right? Our country's going through a power crisis currently, right? With regards to electricity, right? And yes, it's because our government is absolute joke, and they've also just stolen absolutely every cent from state coffers, right? But now that we're trying to resolve this issue, and coal power is the only power we can use. And South Africa has got coal mines. We got enough coal to last God knows how, 300 years, 400 years. We got enough coal in South Africa to last 400 years, right? It's cheap, it's affordable, it's sustainable, and it can really help our industries. Nope, West is coming and saying, no guys, sorry, You can't do that. It's got to be we're in a climate crisis now. So you can't develop using cheap, affordable electricity. We did for centuries. We still do. Germany was buying gas from Russia and buying oil from Russia. Germany was buying gas and oil from Russia while they were shutting down their own coal power plants and their own nuclear power plants, as if Russia's oil is less pollutant to the planet, as if Russia's gas is less pollutant to the planet. Do you know what I mean? They shut down their own energy independence to buy it from another country just so they can put the facade. They can put a facade on it. It's almost like saying, "Oh, look at my electric powered car," and then behind the screen there's a generator, a gas, a diesel powered generator that's charging the power port for your Tesla. That's exactly what it is. It's exactly what it is. It's exactly what it is, right? And that's crazy. They get to do it. It's amazing. When they went through a power crisis, fire back up the coal stations. It's amazing how that is. They were going around telling the whole world that they need to stop all of their coal production. They need to go into wind. They need to go into solar panels and everything. Moments they go into a crisis, no. Okay, fire up the nuclear power plants. Fire up the coal stations again. No, we can do it. We can do it. How can you take any of this seriously? How can you take any of this bullshit seriously? It's all money making. Just imagine the idea that you go and you have to pillage forests. You have to get rid of absolutely everything in those forests so that you can put more solar panels than the eye can fucking see to get a little bit of power, right? While having taken away forests of trees, as if trees are not important to the planet, not important at all to the planet. It's unbelievable. What trees provide to the planet makes the planet cooler, provides oxygen, takes carbon dioxide out of the air, all of that kind of thing. And you want to come to me and you want to tell me that pillaging an entire forest to put solar panels is better than having the forest there itself for climate change, and all of the production that goes in those solar panels and all of the manufacturing that goes into solar panels to replace those trees is better? That's what they're telling you. It's not at all for money. It's because they care about you. It's not at all for money. It's because they care about you. Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure it's because of your big, beautiful blue eyes that they're doing all of this.
Nation or an abomination? Is it a devastation or an abomination? Doesn't make any difference when they formulate. The world's entertainer, the world's devastator. From Venezuela to Mesopotamia. Your cameras lie cause they have to hide the savage crimes committed on leaders that happen to try and nationalize eating competitions while the world's been starving. Beat up communism with the help of Bin Laden. Where would you
beat up communism with the help of Bin Laden? You can't refute these things. You can't refute these things, unfortunately. You can't refute these things. I mean, this is a country that went and they back factions. They back terrorists. Right? Terrorists that have done heinous things. They have given like literally pallets of money to the worst people on earth. You can't refute that. You cannot refute that. That is what has been done.
While the world's been starving, beat up communism with the help of Bin Laden. Where would your war of terror be without that man? Every day you create more Nidal Hassans. Kill a man from the military, you're a weirdo. But kill a wog from the Middle East, you're a hero. Your country is causing screams that never reach your ear holes. America inflicted 1,000,000 ground zeros. Follow the dollar and swallow.
Again, you can't say that wasn't true, man. You can't say that wasn't true. Do you know what I mean? The idea, like, you look at this Russia situation at the moment, and then, you have the USA playing the moral high ground. It's like, and it's crazy where there was like a Freudian slip with George W. Bush when he was condemning this whole Russia invasion, and he actually said, the madman, that invaded a sovereign nation like Iraq. He actually said that. He said that in a speech. It was actually mind-blowing. He actually said that in a speech, and then he's like, Iraq also. Yes, Iraq also. You deserve to be in fucking prison, not in a mansion in Texas. You deserve to be in a prison. How dare you? How dare you have the moral fortitude to sit there and condemn someone else that you're doing the same thing. You did exactly the same thing for no reason under a false flag operation. Exactly the same thing that America said Russia would do, and Russia has done. America did with the same false flag operation in Iraq. The same fucking thing. Exactly the same thing. But when you point that out, people say, oh, what aboutism? No. Two things can be true at once. What Russia is doing is shameful. And what America is doing is what America did is shameful. Shameful. It's shameful stuff. It's in the same thing. It's in the same thing. Putin and George W. Bush should share a jail cell. 100%. They should share a jail cell. Guaranteed. So that's what I'm saying is you can't turn away from the one and be like, oh no, it's like, oh, it's fine, they did it, and then you push it out into the memory. No. Put your war criminal in prison first. And then, yes, absolutely, then we can put other people in prison. No problem. I'm 100%, but let's be fair about this. At the end of the day, you still have a war criminal living in luxury from money that was stolen from abroad. Right? From lives that were murdered and pillaged from abroad. He's still living a good life. Okay, let's put him in prison first before we play the moral high ground.
Follow the dollar and swallow your humanity. Soldiers committing savagery you never even have to see. Those mad at me, writing emails angrily. I'm not anti-America, America is anti-me. Is it Obama's nation or an abomination? Is it Obama's nation or an abomination? Is it Obama's nation or an abomination? Doesn't make any difference when they bomb your nation. Is it Obama's nation or an abomination? Is it Obama's nation or an abomination? Is it Obama's nation or an abomination? Doesn't make any difference when they bomb your nation. I don't care if him and Cheney are long lost relations. What matters more is the policies. I lost my patience. Stop debating, bringing race into the conversation. Occupation and cooperation equals profit making. It's over, people wake up from the dream now. Nobel Peace Prize, Jay-Z on speed dial. It's the substance within, not the color of your skin. Are you the puppeteer or the puppet on the string? So many believed it was instantly gonna change. There was still Dennis Ross, Brzezinski and Robert Gates. What happened to Chaz Freeman? What happened to Tristan Anderson? It's a machine that keeps that man breathing. I have the heart to say what all these other rappers aren't. Words like Iraq, Palestine, Afghanistan. The war's on and you morons were all wrong. I call Obama a bomber cause those are your bomb, your bomb, your bomb.
I call Obama because those are your bombs. Wow, a bomb? Jesus. Yeah, like I say, look, I'm not anti-America, I actually love America, and I've said it many times, I think it's a great nation with great people, and I don't think the people have got absolutely nothing to do with it, it's the actual system itself, and the system's actually tricked the whole world, including its people. It's tricked the whole world into viewing America as this great power it is a great power, right, but there's this hegemony that goes around the world and, imparts its will on the whole world, even if they don't want it. We don't want it. Like right now, we don't want your radical progressivism. We don't want it. Keep it in your side of the world. Cool. You can have your secular religion. You can do whatever you want. It's yours. Keep it. Know what I mean? But the one thing about America is that the greatest export in America has always been Hollywood. Always. It's always been its ideas, its ideals, its morals, its values, and those kind of things. That is what it exported, and it exported it through Hollywood. And throughout the world, people are like, oh, America's great power, this moral, free, liberty, all this stuff that they pushed around the world. And it's gotten to a point where people are like, yeah, man, like we don't want that anymore, man. Like, these nations are and it's fine. It's perfectly fine. They don't need to have it. They don't need to have that will, their will imposed on other people. They don't need to have it. They don't need to have your radical agendas imposed on other people. People don't want it. They don't want it. But that's what they've always done well, man. They've always been very good at indoctrinating everyone in the world to see America as this is the standard. This is the norm. This is the way to go. And it's come to a point where people are like, okay, we don't want that way. We don't want that way anymore. Like, we just don't want that way. And we certainly don't want it in today's modern day and age with all this radicalism going around. We don't want it. We don't want it. That's perfectly fine. You do you, man. You have your views, you have your agendas, you have whatever. You do whatever you want to do to your kids. Leave our kids alone, man. You do whatever the fuck you like with your kids. Right? Leave our kids alone. Keep your agendas on your side of the globe. And that's perfectly fine. And that's that. And the thing is that it's not like we're being horrible in saying that, because the majority of American people are like, yeah, no, we don't want this either. We don't want this either. This is getting a bit like out of hand. Do you know what I mean? So like I say, the American people are incredible people. I just feel that they are stuck in a system of greed and corruption that is virtually impossible to get out of, because the entire system has been developed for the interests of the few and not the many. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Anyway, you guys let me know what you think down below, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.